Welcome to the Sportscast, January 8th, 2019. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. With stunning ease and a freshman quarterback, Clemson toppled college football's greatest dynasty again to become the first perfect playoff champion. Trevor Lawrence passed for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the second-ranked Tigers beat number 1 Alabama 44-16 on Monday night in the College Football Playoff National Championship. And to join us to talk to us about it is Tyler Turner. Welcome to the Sportscast.
What up, dude?
Tyler, the game was pretty much owned by Clemson. What were your thoughts about last night's game?
It was sorry, I was looking at some I'm a little distracted because I was looking at like 10 different way too early polls for 2019. You know, we have to look ahead to 2019.
We'll talk about that.
2018 is over.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. Going back to the subject, it was a good game. It's not really every game. It was a good game if you're a Clemson fan. If you're an Alabama fan, it was a horrible game. What is some hot takes I can make from the game? First off, Trevor Lawrence, true freshman quarterback, I would argue is the best quarterback in college football. I would argue this guy might go down once his career is over as one of the best quarterbacks ever to play college football. Now, it seems a little bit like jumping from A to Z, jumping proverbially from A to Z. But remember, this kid was, I shouldn't say remember, just to enlighten people out there, Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 rated recruit coming out of high school in the 2018 recruiting class. He was number 1 by 247 Sports. He was number 1 by Rivals. I think he was 2 by ESPN. They had Justin Fields number 1. But this kid was very highly touted. I remember seeing him at some of the camps. I remember seeing him in the Army All-American game, and a tremendous player, 6'6", can move well, has just an amazing arm, very skilled, beyond his years. So it wasn't surprising that he's been so productive, but for him to do what he did as a freshman and to do what he did on the biggest stage for the national title game is nonetheless extremely impressive. So that was my number 1 kind of thing. From my perspective, there's so many different storylines you could go through, but I would say if I had to do like 3 storylines, number 1 would be Trevor Lawrence. He is just an amazing true freshman quarterback, and he basically just played an amazing game. I don't know whatever other adjective to use for his performance. Number 2 would be if I had to make a little bit of like a correlation between the two staffs, is Dabo Swinney has been able to keep guys like Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinators, and Brett Venables on the defense from moving on to basically coaching jobs, better jobs. For whatever reason, these guys have stayed with Dabo Swinney for, I don't know. I'm not looking at how long they've been there right now. I'm not looking at a sheet, but they've been there for quite a while. I know through their 4 or 5 years of making the college football playoff, they've been there. And it hasn't been like that for Alabama. You had a totally different staff last year. You know, Jeremy Pruitt was the defensive coordinator. A couple of years before that, it was Kirby Smart. Well, on the offensive side, you had, Lane Kiffin a couple of years ago. Then you had Sarkisian for a brief second take it over. Then you had, then you have like Loxley, and then you have the guy who is now he's the not New England. Who is he? Dabo. Isn't he the Bills offensive coordinator, Brian? So you've just had a lot of different coordinators coming in and out of there. Well, you've just had this consistency on Dabo Swinney's staff. A lot of guys for Alabama come back for their senior year. That could be first-round draft picks.
Yeah, that's correct.
Whereas you saw like Christian Wilkinson and Salim Farrell, 2 first-round guys probably last year, come back and play their senior year. So the fact that you have players coming back, you have coaches coming back, just tells you how strong the culture is with Clemson and the consistency of having the same coordinators every single year. Brandon Streeter, who who was one of my coaches at Liberty, has been the quarterbacks coach and recruiting coordinator for like 5-6 years at Clemson. And just that consistency and that culture to go along with just the amazing play of a freshman quarterback and Trevor Lawrence is probably the two biggest things I saw. And I just saw, honestly, a better Clemson team beat Alabama. And I know everyone thought Alabama was one of the greatest teams ever, but I think you saw plain and simple, they weren't as good as Clemson, and I turned different ways, but yeah, they weren't good on that night. Last night, they weren't even close as good. I mean, the game wasn't even close. It was a blowout.
Blowout. Alabama's Tua Tagovailoa threw two crucial interceptions in the first half. The first returned 44 yards for a touchdown by A.J. Terrell to put Clemson up 7-0. The Tide came in scoring 48 points per game, but were shut out over the final 44 minutes by an opportunistic Clemson defense that stiffened in key spots. Do you think their defense stopped Tagovailoa really well?
Yeah, I mean, Brett Venables called a great game. That defensive line obviously got after him, and I hate to be the same drum I've been saying for the last several weeks is 70 is four best defenses he's played against. His total numbers are 71 for 122, about 230 yards per game. He's completed 58% of his passes. He's had 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. With Tua is he's accurate. He also he's very precise when he knows where he's going with the ball. But if that initial target is not open, and I've noticed he's gotten pressure, he either gets sacked or he tends to try to make a play that is not even there. Like that second interception, even the first one,